Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. I am your girl, Davina, and I am so happy and grateful that you decided to tune into this episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. Tonight, I have with me my divine guest, Miss Tashana Pulliam, that I'm going to bring on here in a minute. But before I do, I just want to say, first of all, Happy New Year. If you didn't watch my episode last week, Happy New Year to everyone. This is my first official live recording of the new year. So I just realized that as I'm talking. So Happy New Year to everyone. And just a reminder, just make sure you like this video, share this video. You know that I love me some interactions in the comments. So make sure that you comment and, interact with me and my guests. So, so let me bring her on and we can get this interview started. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello. So for those of you who may just be joining, tonight I am interviewing my divine guest, Miss Tashana Pulliam. And I always like to start with my guests giving just a little snip of, an intro to who you are. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people, Tashana?
Hello, beautiful people from across the land.
Yes.
Tashana Nicole. Introduce myself. I have been raised in Erie pretty much all my life, but I was actually born in Tacoma, Washington. My mom was in the military when she had me. So I wasn't born in Erie, but I was raised in Erie.
Yes.
Went to Strong Vincent High School,
Whoop, whoop.
Although it's a middle school now, but whatever.
I know.
After that, did my undergrad at Slippery Rock, SRU. What's up, y'all? And then I did my master's through Edinburgh online program. I have a lot of experience working with youth and families as far as like my professional career. Got into entrepreneurship, I want to say around the age 23, 24, I started to get very interested in entrepreneurship. There was a lot of things that I tried and failed at, and then some things that I stuck to, put down, and picked back up. Many of you in Erie may have remembered when I used to do King's Curls and Cares.
Yep.
Now Caravits. And then I moved over into the whole personal finance sector with Hopeful Reality as I began to kind of get into my journey of paying down my debt and wanted to take you all along with me.
Yes.
Mom of two beautiful children with my high school sweetheart. Gone sweet again.
Yeah.
We have known each other since we were 17. So we've grown up with each other, both good, bad, and ugly. And so, that's my heart though. And I've actually been in Virginia since December of 2017. I moved out here and I haven't moved back to Erie, but I've been back and forth plenty of times to see family and friends. But I think that's about it.
For now, a little snippet. Yes. And I love it. Listen, we already got the comments going. We have Tasia, which best friends, right?
Yes. That's my girl. That's my girl.
Yes. And we had Tasia on a few episodes ago. So she said, "Hey, ladies." And then we have another one of my previous divine guests, Kina. She said, "Two natural hair queens." Hey, yes. We love it here.
She is a super supporter. Like she rocks out.
Yes. If you haven't checked out our interview with my interview with Tasia or Kina, I highly recommend you do so because those are two very great. Yes. And then we have Riasha. She said, "Hey, Happy New Year. Happy New Year."
That's my kid's godmama.
Okay. Listen, we have the support already. We're going to get into the support later. We have Abby. She gave hearts. Thank you, Abby. Riasha, whoop, whoop. SB, yes. I miss SB days.
I know.
Kina, she said, "This is going to be good." Let me go get my notebook. Listen, you guys know I love a good comment section. Yes, and heart to Tasia. Oh, and Abby, I'm coming, sis. Yes, we love it. So I always like to start with a little background about how I know my guest. Most of them I have known, like in some way I'm connected. So for Tashana, like she said, we both went to SV together. She was a year ahead of me. I remember her and her high school sweetheart always being together. But then even after high school, like she said, she is an entrepreneur. And I was just telling her before we got on here, I'm looking through our text messages, and it was literally this time last year that we had exchanged numbers and were like talking about, like, she was growing her podcast. I was becoming a official LLC for Divinely Crowned. And she's like, if you ever need help, like, let me know. And she has definitely like kept in contact. Like, I'll get the Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, like text. And so she's definitely been on this journey. And I believe I've been on her journey and in some way. So I just was like, yes, I got to highlight Tashana, because even though she's not living here, she definitely has given back to Erie in a major way, which we'll get into, or our community in a major way, which we'll get into later on tonight. So let me see. We got some more comments. We got Sierra. Listen, I love all my divine guests that are on tonight. Listen, I'm feeling all the divine energy that I need today. Okay. She said, I'm going to join the SB crowd too. Woo, woo. Yes. Kat, another divine guest. Listen, why don't we all just get on together? Kat, she was another divine guest. Yeah, I love this. Y'all don't know how much I needed this right now, because your girl been struggling. So I love all the love that's coming in. So Tashana, let's get into this interview tonight. So as you know, Divinely Crowned is all about just talking about our journey of where we come from, where we're at, and where we're going. So I always like to go back to the beginning, and I always hear my mom's voice when I say it, because she's always like, sometimes you just gotta go back to your beginning, go back to your beginning. So for you, what does your beginning look like? What does young Tashana and her life look like?
Good question. Young Tashana.
Yeah.
Woo, young Tashana was definitely still finding herself. But when I think about the beginning in regards to just like the foundational things that were being implanted in me as a child, I think of my grandmother, Mary, who has passed away. I think it's been this coming July, it will be 2 years now. And she was just a huge inspiration in my life, especially when it came to my faith. If anybody know me from quite some time, we're going to talk about Jesus. And I got that from my grandmother. And that has always been like the foundation of who I am as a person, and just, has carried with me throughout my adulthood. So when I think about kind of like the beginning, I think of her always, instilling in me the importance of prayer. And when I became a mother, she's like, you need to teach them babies how to pray. And so those are just some things that just always stuck with me, is just the foundation of who I am at my core. And just growing up in that has just really, carried me throughout my life. So definitely my faith for sure. And my lovely grandma, who I miss.
Yes, shout out to grandma. And that's a beautiful beginning for sure, because I have a grandma that I'm even connected to now. She is like one of my biggest supporters, even with this Divinely Crowned. She, after every interview, or as much as she can, she's writing me, sending prayers and stuff. So that is so beautiful to say that, that was a big part of your growing up, is having that praying grandma, because listen, a praying grandma, that's a powerful thing to have.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you saying that and saying how now you've instilled those things in your children. So I see your shirt too. It said Godfidence.
Yes, it does.
I love it. We love Jesus over here.
Church,
okay.
My own church.
Yes.
Christ Community.
Okay.
My pastor Daryl Cook, he did a campaign for a while. It was like a message thing that he was doing. It was talking about having Godfidence, and the word confidence brings confidence. And so I needed my confidence tonight, because the nerves were nerving.
I get it. And shout out to Daryl Cook. He jumped on one of my podcast interviews with Camille. So I love that, you're like, listen, I'm not living here, but I'm still repping, my pastor and things like that. So even digging deeper into that, I didn't realize you weren't from here. Then you moved here when?
I probably was like 3 when my mom moved to Erie. But I was born in Tacoma, Washington. That's actually like on my bucket list. I haven't been back. I've never been to since, you know, I moved away, but that's on my bucket list to kind of revisit where I was actually born. My mom was in the military, and that's where she was placed at. So a crazy thing, I was actually born on a military base. And it's like my personality, like for those who know me, I actually kind of have a militant kind of narrow personality. So I think that's so weird that I was actually born on an Army base. But yeah, when I was about 3, my mom moved here. I moved to Erie, and I was there pretty much all of my life until my early adult life when I located to the DMV.
Yes. Wow. That, first of all, so wow. And it's like how you even said, like, you know, I have this militant personality and I was born, like, it's really divinely crowned. It's like, it's so divinely like connected in so many ways. And how you're saying, like, I was born on this military base, and that's now kind of, you were born into that personality is like definitely an interesting thing. So you said your mom was in the military. Are you the only child, or?
Lord, no. My mom has 4 children. My daddy was Rolling Stone. I think a total of us, my dad has 11 kids total.
Wow.
It's 11 of us. But with my mom, in regards to the kids that I was raised with, it's 4. It's I'm the third, so I'm kind of the middle child. So it goes my oldest brother Jarrell, Taryn, me, and then the youngest brother is Cooper. But I'm number 3.
So you're number 3. Okay.
Yeah, I'm number 3 with my mom.
What's your mom?
Where you were? I'm still number 3. Like we're my dad's first set of kids. He had
like 2
other sets after us.
So first of all, let me look at these comments because I don't want to get too far behind. We have Keena. She said, yes, Sierra SB. Yes, SB. Abby, she said, RIP grandma. Riasha said, yes, because my grandma prayed for me. Yes, this is my praying grandma, Miss Stella. She said, amen. Have an awesome conversation, lady. She is a big fan. Abby, you're a natural. You are a natural, sis. You really are already. Y'all know why you were nervous. And then Elaine, she says, hello, ladies. So going back to, let's talk about these siblings and just that relationship. So 4 on one side, 11 on the other, of just, you know, growing up. How was that for you? Like having, I don't know, how were you close to like your dad's side of the family with the kids?
Yes and no. So yeah, we've grew up. Well, it took a while for us to get connected to my dad's side of the family. But when we did, and that's where my grandma Mary is. She's on my dad's side. So I want to say I really got connected to them when I was probably about 10 years old. And like ever since then on, it was just kind of like I got connected to all of my cousins, all of my siblings. The majority of my siblings, I would say, were pretty close. There's probably like a couple of them where it's very distant, you know, things that are out of my control.
Listen,
but those of the ones I am able to have a relationship with, we're pretty cool, you know, and usually at a Pulliam function, you're going to have at least one good argument.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're a Pulliam.
I would say I'm the peacekeeper. I have nobody on here to disclaim that, but I would like to say I'm the peacekeeper.
Well, shout out to that.
But yeah, for the most part, yeah, most of my siblings I have a good relationship with.
Nice. That's good. That's good. Well, shoot. Listen, if you have most with that many siblings, because I know having 3 siblings, I have 3. And sometimes, I mean, it's challenging. Having siblings is a beautiful thing. And they test your gangster. I know I test my siblings gangster, but it's beautiful that you are able to have that many connections and like and growing up and learning each other. So I love that. So coming from a military like mother, like a mom that was in the military, how was that growing up?
Interesting, in different ways. I think and it's I think it's interesting that Riyasha is on here.
Yes.
Mom, yes, me.
Yes, I'm like, wait, Riyasha military. I remember.
Yes, we're still very, very good friends. But one of the things with Riyasha, I remember when we first became friends, she would always like, you know, come in and give me a hug, and I'd be like, I wasn't really a hugger because my mom, like, she showed affection in different ways, but she really wasn't like a touchy person. And I would say like my relationship with Riyasha, when God brought her into my life, she made me a hugger. So it's like there's certain things, or like I feel like from, obviously from my intimate background with my mother, that like it was just different. But there's been other relationships in my life that kind of balance it out in a different way. But my mom, I mean, she is who she is.
Yes. And that's interesting that you even say that, having friendships are kind of where you got certain intimacy, because it's so funny. Like, I am a very affectionate person. I love to hug, but sometimes I think it's because my mom is very touchy. So it's like we grew up with her always touch us and want to hug us. And I'm like, please just stop touching me. But it's funny because it's like, I love hugging my friends and this and that. So even having that friendship that you're able to, have somebody teach you that is so beautiful. And I think I definitely want to get into that more about friendship, because I can tell for you that friendship is important. Obviously, we have already friends in the comments. We have let me get back up here. Keena said nothing like a praying Nana. You're right about that. Riyasha over there sweating and smiling. Abby, she said, you definitely are, LOL. She said, I can vouch for that. Oh, the peacemaker. I got you. Is Abby cousin? Is she a cousin?
She's married to my brother. She's married.
Okay. Oh, so she can definitely vouch, because the sister-in-laws know and stuff. We have Sierra. She said, yes, but I think I do the testing with my I already know, Sierra. She said, Rio. She said, Latoya. Hello, ladies. So you're a mom of two. So coming from a military child background, how long was your mom in the military, by the way? Like, was it like most of your life, or?
No, I know when it was like I was like a baby. So I really don't. I can't.
Okay.
I was young. Like I said, when we moved when she left Tacoma, Washington, and came to Erie, I was like 3. But after that, she didn't like serve.
She was like, yeah.
So, but yeah, it really wasn't like something like that was embedded into our upbringing. I just know, like in the beginning of that, before she came to here, she started off in the military for sure.
Okay. Well, so growing up, you said that you lived in Erie. So what was that like for you growing up in Erie?
It was what it was. I will say, growing up in Erie, and I think most people can attest, for those who have like moved away, like there's no place like home when you have like everybody that you know is there. All of my friendships, all of my family. I'm the only one out of my siblings that is currently out of town. My mom actually followed me out when I left, like 6 months later. It's like, I'm leaving too. I'm just like, we got 3 other kids back there. Like, so all of my nieces and nephews, like everybody is in Erie. So Erie will always be home. One thing I didn't realize until I like moved into an area that was a little more a city is like the ruralness of Erie, like the landscape of Erie. There's a lot more space in regards to like how houses are apart versus like out here in the DMV and in the DC, it's like a house and another house. I'm like, why ain't there no spaces? Like, this is not how y'all live like this.
Like y'all.
So it was just, I didn't realize like how country I grew up, because I really thought I grew up in the city. I'm like, we a little countryer than I thought.
I've had somebody tell me that before too. Like, you're country. I'm like, we are not country. And
I swear, I used to get so feeling like I am not country. But when I like moved into the city, I'm like, wait a minute, I might have been a little more country than I thought.
So Erie, we're country. Okay, we are not.
Sorry, just a little bit. But yeah, growing up in Erie, I will at least during my time, definitely was a lot more safer than what's going on now. And I think just across the nation, there's just a lot of foolishness going on. I don't know if y'all remember the era of like house parties and kiddie clubs. I was in all of them. Y'all don't know if y'all remember Cats, The Rock. What was another one? Club Chaos. Like, y'all remember? I don't know if y'all. That was during my Younger.
And you were at those, listen, I would never take you for like being, so you was out here turning up.
Girl, and that was before the Lord reeled me in. Like, and that's like, I promise you, like, and it was weird that it happened like a very young Tashana. And then like, I would say, I was about 17 when I decided to give my life to the Lord. Like 17 and up, that's when I got mature, I guess, born into a certain aspect. But yes, I remember like all of the kiddie clubs, all of the house parties. And I just remember being able to get home safe. And there wasn't no like, oh, so-and-so got shot, or, there usually was a fight, a fight or two, but nobody like, they're gone. A lot of stuff that these kids are facing today. So when I think about, my time in Erie growing up as a kid, I just remember it being safe. And it was just always home, everybody that I know and love was there. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. First of all, we got your girl Riasha in the comments. She said, yes, Erie was safe for us growing up. She actually said that before you even said that. So it was interesting. I was like, I saw that comment like, wow, you're right. And it was safer when we were growing up. And I want to believe that we will get back to that one day. I pray about that because y'all know I'm a woman of faith, so I talk about my faith on here. So, but I pray about that, and I hope, because I wish like even we have children, and I want to be able to see them be able to be free to just be around here, but it's different. Yeah, it's so different. Riasha also said, LOL, I'm cracking up right now. I'm cracking up too, because she talking about Club Chaos.
Yes, y'all.
Listen.
I was a hot little
Listen, I have a funny story about Club Chaos, because that was your family. Pulliam.
Hold on. No. There are actually 3 sets of Pulliams. People always do this to me. There's the IAM, there's the IUM, and then there's some IAMs that I am no relation to. So all the Pulliams ain't related. Okay. But go ahead and tell your story. I have to make that point. I have to make my kid. Not all the Pulliams is my kid.
I get you. It'd be like that sometimes. But I remember when Club Chaos was open, we grew up as church kids. So my dad, I'll just never forget when my dad told my sister, like, you can go, but I'm going with you. I'm not going. I'm not going. You can go by yourself. So just every time I think of Club Chaos, I think of that story. So listen, and then we have Latoya. She said Club Chaos used to be lit. I wouldn't know. I didn't even test my dad after that.
Like, you want to go? I'm gonna be right up in there.
Listen, no,
right back out.
I'm good. I'm gonna just go to homecoming and those things, and I'll get to a club when I get there. But but so you talking about you talked about how you gave your life to the Lord at 17, and I think that's my dad and mom gave their heart to the Lord that young as well. I think I gave my heart to the Lord that young. But either way, growing up as a young woman of faith, like, how was that for you with your peers?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough. I actually I was going through a phase where there were certain things, like I said, I was at all of the parties, and that desire started to go. I didn't know what was happening with me. I'm just like, what? Like, there were certain things that I just didn't want to do anymore. I didn't want to be around, but these were my friends. And so I would still hang around them, but there were certain things that they were into that I just wouldn't do. And I would just kind of, chill back or whatever. But I remember, like, to a certain extent being made fun of, they would make, jokes and stuff, like, jokingly, but it was like, basically coming at me as being a cornball or lame and stuff like that. And I slowly just had to distance myself. And yeah, like it was an interesting transition. I had got really, really close to my Aunt Michelle around that time, who was a big influence in my spiritual walk with the Lord. Her and my grandmother. That's my grandmother's daughter, my Aunt Michelle. And I just remember just kind of like being up under her. And I realized, like, even in my relationships now, like, I tend to click very well with women that are older than me. It's really weird. Like, I just click very well. Like, I would generally be friends with the mama too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm friends with my friends, and then me and the mama would be sitting there having a whole conversation. Like, I really connect with very well with older women. And then during that time of me being 17, giving my life to the Lord, not going out no more and doing certain things, certain people it just wasn't, I wouldn't say it wasn't well received, but it wasn't the popular thing. It wasn't, everybody wasn't jumping to go to church, there was just certain relationships that kind of just, fell off. I found myself just hanging a lot more with my aunt and my grandmother. And then some interesting way, that's, actually me and Riasha became friends. I believe we first met through it was like a college, prep type of program. I think it was called the SEEK program. Edinburgh used to do it. They would take kids, which that's another thing I'm kind of upset about, Erie. There was a lot of college prep programs that were out there that are just gone. And
I remember them.
Influential.
Yeah.
It was a big reason why I went to school. And a lot of people that I know went to school and got like a secondary education. It's just sad that it's not there anymore. But I digress. But I remember meeting her there and just connecting and just really being able to just be myself and not be judged and not feel like, I'm doing this weird thing, or, it was crazy. Like, I always realized certain times in my life where certain things are being removed, because you go through that. Like, of course, I wasn't like happy about it. I was, remorseful, and I, felt bad or whatever, but God always provides. It's like, take something away, he's gonna bring something back better. And like, me and Riasha has been friends ever since. I would say about since 11th grade. But during that time when I lost a lot of people that I was hanging with, she kind of came in, and I just felt understood and safe to be myself. Both, the smart mouth Tashana, wild Tashana, and the Tashana who loves to praise the Lord. Like, I wasn't made fun of either person. Like, it was just well received. And, she began her walk with the Lord as well. And we kind of just grew and matured together in that. And so it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah. And you talking, and then I guess for me, mine was so different because I grew up, like, people knew Mr. Paisley and Miss Paisley were a youth pastor. So for me, I never had a problem being like, y'all knew, like, I was wild, but y'all knew I was gonna bring you to youth group and things like that. So for you to say, like, I had a hard time, but you did it, and you made these connections, and God brought you the right people, and that, or the right person, even if it was that for now, that you're now friends with for life, I believe. So even talking about friendship, like I said in the beginning, like, you got your friends all in the comments, which actually, let me see, Riasha said Benjamin Wiley program was such a great college program too. Janessa, I love that friendship for her. Yes. And then how did Nate, I hope I said, Nadia said, you have a great soul, both you ladies. It glows on y'all. Thank you. So talking about friendship, because friendship is very important to me. Very important. For, like, if I get close with somebody, like, you're like, that's a piece of my heart. So you have your friends in the comments. Like, what is friendship for you? What does that mean for you? And how is your friendships?
Friendships for me, it's all about being able to have that safe space to be yourself. And, you're my friend when I'm up, when I'm down, when I got it, when I don't got it, when I'm at my best, when I'm not at my best. There's that balance of where, kind of like even in an intimate relationship, I'm safe to be me, and there's no animosity. There's no, backbiting or anything. You're just able to be yourself, and you're able to, there's a balance of the give and take. I pour into you, you pour into me. To me, it's really just having that safe space to just be yourself, because especially in the world that we live in, we wear different hats. There's a certain person I have to be at work, when I'm at home, when I'm doing different things. And sometimes when you're with your friends, you just, you're able to kind of, do your girly thing. And it's always nice to have that. And it's important to have it with people where you feel like you can just be you.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely saying you're a safe space. I think that is very important in friendship. Someone that they not only feel safe with you, but you feel safe with them. Because I will say, even for me personally, like there's been friendships where it's like, I know you feel safe with me because you're how you're interacting, but do I feel safe with you? And that is important. And you said like that given to you're pouring and I'm pouring, because that is what I believe makes a true friendship. So, and let me hold on, your friends in the comments again. Tasia said, a great friend she is. We locked in forever. I love it. I love it. And then we had DL, Daniel. Hey, Queens. Hello, hello, cousin. So going back to friendship, because I definitely, I think that is one of the most important relationships nowadays is friendship. I'm always talking about community and things like that. So even you did share a little bit about like what friendship means, but I want you to shout out, you got some words you got to say to your friends because they in the comments. So
I gave you a lot of shout out, girl. You know I love you. Tasia, you my girl. The authentic being yourself and just being a writer that you are. I think for me, one of the things that I appreciate specifically about them too is being honored or being privileged enough to kind of see different journeys of their life, being able to see them grow, being able to see them mature, see them up and down, and see them come through things, times when we're crying and praying together and seeing them come out on the other end. It just warms my heart. And also one of the things that I can appreciate about both of them is that one thing about friendships is they're going to change, as you become a mom, as you become a wife, like as you are doing business, you're not like these, you don't have like as many responsibilities as you did when you were a teenager. You can be on the phone for hours, sometimes we may go months, weeks without hearing from each other, but we'll pick up and not miss a beat, and to me, that's always important. Like I literally was just on the phone with Riasha the other day. I'm like, hey girl, here go our yearly conversation. How you been? It's been a whole year, girl. I haven't heard from you.
Yes.
But there's an understanding. There's no like, dang, I ain't hear from you in a while. It's just, that's again that safe space where it's just like, we may go weeks, months at a time not hearing from each other. We get on the phone and don't miss a beat. And so I can say with the two of them, like it'd be like that.
Yeah, it'd be like that. No,
get on the phone with me, it just be like, we're gonna be on this phone for a good hour or two.
I totally understand how that is. Riasha said, love you too, sis. Tasia with the hearts. Abby Pulliam said, love that for y'all. I love it for y'all too. And Riasha said, LOL. So I want to go back to when you were talking about just, how you were on that transition of faith, going into your faith walk and how you had to let go of friendships. So I know letting go of certain friendships is challenging. What are some things maybe you can share with people who might have that transition that maybe you have had learned about that transition of having to let go of old friendships? If you have anything, you might not have nothing for me, but I'm just kind of curious to know, like, do you have any advice for people who may be in that transitional period where they have to, let go of certain friendships? Oh, I think
I think it's, did you lose me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Am I breaking up?
You was breaking up a little bit, but then it came back.
Okay.
Am I breaking up?
You're good now. I think you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things I think is important, especially with friendships that may be transitioning and may be over, before it reach that point, be willing to have those tough conversations, because sometimes, we avoid conflict or we avoid just not having that hard conversation. And to me, that's always important. Let's have that conversation. When I feel the tension or I feel, some type of, awkwardness is going on, I need to voice that. And even during that time with the friends that I had, I do remember voicing that. And nothing changed. So I was able to be at peace and say, I did my part. I voiced it. You showed me that you didn't care about what I voiced. So that is my cue to exit.
Yeah.
And so I think, being able to kind of at least voice what it is that you're feeling with that friend, to not hold any grudge or animosity, because at that point, you know, sometimes I realized that certain things or people that were taken out of my life were for good for me. Even though it doesn't feel good, it was for my good. So I think finding ways to at least just, you know, have those tough conversations, because it may just be a rocky point that you're having that relationship. And sometimes people may not, sometimes they are aware, but sometimes they may not know. But if you know me, I'm going to say how I feel. You know, I'm going to invite that tough conversation and to have that first. And then, you know, if they continue to operate in that way, then you gotta cut the cord.
Bless you. God bless you. And we wish the best. And that, I think that's good, and good advice, especially that talking. I definitely am a firm believer you should talk to, not just like cut someone off or like, you know, give people grace, but having those tough conversations, I think is also important for growing in relationships as well. So if some of the time, I believe those conversations end up like, okay, let me check myself. Maybe she is right, or maybe he is right. Or it's like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we maybe we just have outgrown each other. And Keena and I, our last conversation, my last interview with Keena, we kind of talked about that. Just, you know, outgrowing people and wishing them well and moving forward. So I believe that's some good advice for somebody out there that may, because I do believe a lot of people are growing right now and healing and things. And a lot of friendships have been being tested. Even from what I see on social media, it's like, wow, I don't see that friend or that's friend. And it's like, listen, it's okay. People grow apart, and it's part of the journey. So I want to go back. You were talking about when you were you know, in school, and how we had the programs like for going to college. And I definitely remember those too. And the reason why I want to go back to that is because I know that and you're an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, but I also believe that higher education is important too. So for you to say, you know, we don't have these programs for these children, and I mean these young people anymore, what is something that you would want to share with maybe a high school student that might listen to this, or a parent that has high school students? Like, what is some advice, because you went to college and things like that? Like, what is some advice you would want to share with somebody about getting a higher education?
All right. I just hope this is well received.
Okay.
I have 10 years, almost a decade of working with youth and families. I work with children, after school programs, residential facilities, all types of things. And one of the things I know, college, it's like my thing is secondary education is good for everyone, whether it's a trade, whether it's a certification, especially for Black and brown people. You need to have something behind your name. And one of the things that I feel is really important when it comes to higher education, just due to the workforce, it's super competitive. And a lot of our kids are not even finishing with a high school diploma. And a bachelor degree does not have the same value as it did 10 years ago, because the market is so competitive. Entrepreneurship, yes, is great. But there's a lot of things that goes into it. There's a lot of sweat equity. There's a lot of investment that you have to put in on the front end before you see a return. And if I could be real with y'all, my job is my biggest investor. You know what I'm saying? My job has been the biggest investor into my business. If I needed a camera light, or if I wanted to try a new software, I'm using income from my job to help invest in my business. And so I am always in the mind frame that you need to have, multiple ways that you are earning, an income. But a higher education to me is so important. And it's very discouraging to see the drop in enrollment, especially for Black and brown children. It's just, there's a lot of risk factors that kind of go into it. And maybe a 4-year college is not for everybody, but you should be a lifelong learner. Learning should not stop after 12th grade. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I may not be in a formal school now, but I'm studying working on getting a certification, or I'm learning a new skill to figure out how to run the business that I'm trying to run. If you have a high schooler, or if you have a child, You really, really need to get them exposed into various different things.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge advocate for, you know, college, because what it has done for my life and just my journey with my education, doors that have been open just for me having this expensive piece of paper. It really has opened some doors for me that, you know, I just don't know where I would be without that. And just the experience that came with college, to me, you know, if you're willing and if you're able, I highly encourage parents to introduce that into their children, because one of the things that people are getting away from, especially our youth, is just the value of education. Everybody want to be the next TikTok star, the next, you know, YouTube, and all of that is fine. But there's, you know, a level of just a love for learning that is being lost. It's this instant gratification that's not going to sustain you in the real world, you know? So
that's some good advice.
That's my 2 cents on that. So parents, you know, any type of secondary education, it doesn't have to be a 4-year college. Although I'm a huge advocate for that, but push your children to continue their education and to take their education seriously, because this job market is not to be played with.
Thank you for that advice. And I hope that, first of all, I'm going to take heed to that girl with my children as well. But I hope that people can take, you know, that advice and use it, because like you said, like a 4-year college or whatever might not be for everybody, because I dang sure know it wasn't for me. So, you know, I started, but it's fine. I used to beat myself up about it, but now I'm like, I'm doing what I want to do. Like, I'm doing what I was wanting to do and why I was going. So, but higher education is important. Learning, you should always want to learn different things. And so I think that's great advice for sure. Nadia said, those were very great programs. Yes, they were. I never was in a lot of those programs, but I always knew people that were. So thank you for sharing that. So you are a mom of 2. So how's that experience? Because they're pretty mature. They're like they both look like your little mini me's. But how is it being a mom and entrepreneur who is? It seems like they're a big part of your brand and your business. So how is it being a mama to 2 young king and queen?
It's rewarding, but sometimes it can be stressful. I actually, with Samara, she was my first child. I had her my junior year of college. So I got pregnant with her while I was still finishing my college education. And I remember after I had her, she was born on February 14th, Valentine's baby.
Hey!
Right when I had her, I stayed out of school until it was like that spring break. And then after spring break, I end up going right back. And I remember like going into the class and people were just like, you had a stomach, now stomach's gone, like you're here, you're back. And it was terrifying, because it was like, I beat that statistic, like, oh, I didn't become, you know, a teen mom. And then I got into college and it was just like, oh, and then it was like this fear and this anxiety that, oh, you know, all of these bad things are going to happen. But anybody who becomes a mom at any point in their life, there's just something that there's a fire that's lit in you. You just have a greater sense of reality of just like, I have this human being that I'm responsible for. I don't have time for games, you know? So they really helped me mature just to become a better human, you know, and to care about somebody other than myself, and really just pushed me to look at the world completely different. And so although I'm pretty sure, as you know, parenthood comes with all of its ups and downs, I'm really grateful that, you know, God entrusted me to be able to bear children, 2 of them, and to be able to, you know, raise them. And even with my son, you know, there's a lot of, I remember when I was pregnant the second time, I was actually on my way. I just finished my 4-year degree. And I realized that I was pregnant, because I was actually, after I had finished Slippery Rock, I was going to move to North Carolina. But then I realized I was pregnant with my son, and I was just like, 2 kids. I was just like, no. And I ended up going back to Erie, which was a tough season during that time when I came back after graduating and coming back to Erie for those 5 years before I could move out of here. But I remember when I realized that I was pregnant with a son, there was just this level of anxiety and fear that just kind of came over me at such a young age. I was 23, and just the pattern of what I've seen in my family when it comes to, the Black men and just certain things, certain battles that they have gone through, and just certain, generational curses that unfortunately seems to repeat itself. It was just so, like, it was just a lot of fear that I did not feel when I was pregnant with my daughter. So I tried to be, mindful of, just the world that we live in today and the heighten of, police brutality and just all the things, all the messages that we see when it comes to Black men and young Black boys. Like, Black boys always have just a special place in my heart. And it's just, it was just a different experience bringing him into the world, and just another level of, because you always, worry as a mom.
Oh, yeah.
But like with him, it was just a different level. And it's like, as he's getting older, I'm just like, oh, this don't go away. I just be thinking about, like, I'm really supposed to just let y'all grow up and just go out into this world. Because I never like, oh, I can't wait, grow and get going. But then as they're getting older, I'm just like, wow, I'm supposed to just let y'all just go out and be in this world. Like, y'all can stay with me forever. It's all right. Forever. Like, I know. Parenthood is just, it's a journey, and there's just certain aspects of it I just never really realized, because obviously outside, but when you're in, it's just like, wow, you're never, again, that's something that it's an ongoing learning experience, because I don't have teenagers yet. So I'm like, I've worked with teenagers,
like it sometimes,
but I haven't raised teenagers. So it's just like, it's a journey, but they have been a huge part of me just becoming a better human being, honestly.
Yes, I love it. And I totally can relate to that. Especially like you saying, you were in college with your first child and being young. Even it was like, I felt the same way. Like, I'm like, oh, I beat the statistic, but of high school, but like I got pregnant right after high school. And I remember just how much shame I had, and I'll never forget. Remember Mr. Wright? I'll never forget seeing Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright was our old assistant principal. I remember seeing him in the mall. I'm just thinking this and just being like turning the other way. Like, I didn't want him to see me pregnant at a young age and unwed mom, and it was just so much like shame, but like, I wouldn't change trade. I always told people, like, they're the best unplanned decisions I made. Like,
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put that.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
I mean, they was a little planned, but that's a whole nother story.
There was some planning.
But even just talking about like how, how you grew up because of them. And I say the same thing, like even just with growing in my confidence, like, I was like, I had this young girl that's going to look up to me. Like, I remember looking up to my mother and women, and I'm like, hold up, I got to be the best I can be, because I want my daughter saying like, my mom was like, like I want her to be proud of that and how she definitely has helped me mature. So I can totally relate when you say like, they grew me up. Listen, through it all, through the wires. I have Riasha. She said, "Yep, amen." And Makita said, "OMG, Mr. Wright." I think he's my Facebook friend for real.
You did not want to get in any type of reparation or anything by Mr. Wright. He just put you on blast.
No, he definitely would.
It would take your chips and eat them.
He used to take my gum and be like, give me your gum, Big Red, because I always had Big Red gum. I don't know why I thought that was cute to have Big Red gum, but that's a whole nother story too. Riasha laughed. So let's fast forward to, well, you said so you went to school. What did you go to school for again?
I have my master's in social work, and then I have a bachelor's in criminal justice. I actually was a dual major during my undergrad, criminal justice and social work. Then I went back for my master's in social work. So I've done most of my career has been in social work.
Social work. Are you still, because you're still doing that and your business, or?
Yes.
God bless you. So let's get into your business a little bit. And I told you we're not like, I'm like, this is not a business podcast, but you definitely, I want to highlight that for you because you have given back. Like you said, you're not living in Erie anymore, but you've definitely given back. You're getting ready to give back again to our community here. And this week. No, you're the last one. Yep. Okay. So I got Riosh in the comments. I remember getting yelled at with trying to buy snacks at the vending machine. And we got Reese Moffat. See, that's her man, y'all. That's her man. And then we have Keena. She said superwoman. Yes, she is. So talk to me about your business and your brand, because I definitely want to get into that a little bit, not too much because I can't pay you right now for your services, but I want to definitely talk about Hopeful Reality.
Yes, Hopeful Reality came from a place of me when I moved to Virginia, when I moved to the DMV area. One of the things that happened is that my income had raised, but I was still not like, it just still wasn't math. Like I still was, to a certain extent struggling. And I realized like, I know I need to learn how to budget. I need to learn how to manage my money better, but I just did not know where to start. And so I started listening to podcasts. I started watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I actually was inspired listening to a episode from His and Her Money. They were like one of the first Black people that I saw that was talking about finances. I first was hip to Dave Ramsey, and then from Dave Ramsey, I found His and Her Money. And there was a podcast episode that I was listening to of this woman who was talking about how she started a blog and how this blog, made her all of this money. And I was just like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I'm like, and I've always been, ever since I was a kid, like I've always been a writer. Like I was the kid that would just randomly like make up stories. I love journaling. I still got a lot of my old journals, and sometimes I read them like, girl, what the heck was you?
Oh, I know.
What was you thinking?
I know.
What in the world? Too much. But I've always, I just enjoyed writing, whether it was poetry, short stories. And so I'm like, you know what? I can look into this blogging thing. And then here I am trying to figure out this whole finance thing. And one of the things that I realized that there was just a lot that I was not taught at home, and even in my formal education, I'm like, all these degrees that I got, even in high school, nobody taught us about money. I learned about trigonometry, how to X and Y and the square. None of that had to do with my taxes.
No, for real.
With, paying off debt. Like, what was those classes?
Yeah.
And as I was listening to these podcasts, I was just being so inspired, hearing all of these different stories of people paying off their debt, becoming more knowledgeable, starting to build wealth, that I wanted to kind of, emulate that and become a part of that. Because what I realized, no matter what you're into, finances is always going to be a part of your journey, and it's always going to impact you in some type of way. And so as I began to kind of self-teach myself, as I said, listen to these podcasts, watch these YouTube videos and stuff like that, I began to formulate, just starting off with writing blog posts. And from the blog posts, I began sharing them, and then eventually got on to, I started the podcast first, and then eventually YouTube. YouTube was last for me because video editing in any type of form, I know it looked like I know what I'm doing. I had no idea what I was doing. I literally just put my camera on and recorded, and just, it was a lot. So, but yeah, to me, it was really a push to share my journey, but also push the conversation of finances, because I'm like, it's not something that, it's not an isolated thing. Like, oh, she's into the money thing. No, we all need to be into the money thing, because it impacts every area of our life. Even if you have a passion for something in some form or some way, there are finances that are going to be connected to it.
Yeah.
You may have a passion to want to serve people. How are you going to serve them without the resources? You need to be able to have the resources to serve them. In order to get the resources, you need to have some money. And so we need to know how it works and how to, benefit not only for ourselves, but for generations after us. And so for Hopeful Reality is to make the conversation around money just normal and not so abstract and not so evil, or like, it's just for the rich folks. And one of the quotes that people misquote all the time is that money is the root to all evil.
Oh, yes. Talk about it.
That is not scripture. It says, for the love of money is the root to all evil. And that word love for money, love. When you love something, you're willing to do anything for it, whether, and so when you have a love for money, that is what makes it evil. Money itself, it has no emotion. It has no it has no influence. The only thing money can do is what you tell it to do. So if it gets into the hands of an evil person, they're going to do evil things with it. If it gets into the hands of a good person, they're going to do good things with it. And that was the mindset that really the Lord had to work with me on. Because if I'm thinking, I honestly used to think, and it may sound silly saying this out loud, I used to think like people who were rich, I'm like, y'all did something shady to get all that money. Ain't no way that y'all just rich and y'all just good at heart. Like usually people with a lot of money, y'all doing some shady business. Y'all evil. Like I had to undo that thinking, because if I want to build wealth, but I'm thinking it's evil, I'm not going to attract that. I'm going to repel it. So I have to understand that money has no emotion. It has no influence. The person that has it in their hands use it for good or for evil. There's a lot of things that I all the time it's like, Lord, you just need to hurry up and make me a millionaire. I promise this world gonna be a better place.
Lord. Come on, Lord.
Girl, multi-millionaire, just hurry up. Like there's things I got to do, and that is something that I'm hoping with the message of Hopeful Reality that people kind of undo those mindsets. Understanding how money works, but also erasing it from any type of emotion. It's people that use money for good. Money is just a resource and a tool that, unfortunately, this is how our world is constructed in order to operate in it.
Come on, Gems. Lord, that was just a whole lot. That was a whole mouthful of wisdom, right? Listen, that's why obviously y'all know she's good at what she does. And I love, and I was even thinking, like I said, I had told you before I got in here, like I have some things I kind of want to, talk about around that, because you are very vocal. Like I remember I have watched your journey and bits and pieces of you starting to, be on, do your podcast and talking about money, and how you even talked about, like, growing up, you didn't, and as a Black person, you didn't see this, because I know, like, both of my parents were hard workers as we were growing up, and they were providers, but we did not learn how to necessarily save and credit and things like that. So for you to be like, I want to change that and break, you talked about generational curses, back, like with your children and stuff. And it's like, those are, I do believe, certain generational curses around money when it comes to, our Black and brown people, that it's nice that you as a Black woman are like, I want to learn. And you're also now giving back to the community by teaching and being part of certain things like Erie's Black Wall Street. They're doing a whole 4-week, seminar for home buying. And you're a part of that, and you're teaching people how to save and how to use their money wisely and things like that. So let's talk to me a little bit about maybe like, what is something that you want to say to our community? And it doesn't just have to be Black and brown, but I also want to kind of say to them as well. What would you like to share, like a gem you would like to share with somebody who might be needing some better understanding of saving or budgeting or anything you would like to share that you wish you would have knew beforehand?
Yes. One of the things I think is very important is that when it comes to managing your finances, it's not just a tactical thing. I need to, you need to learn the basics of how to budget and how to save, but it's a lot more emotional than you think. And one of the things that I love in regards to my journey with this personal finance is that I'm finding that there's still a lot of mental health aspect to it that contribute to our behaviors on how we handle money. And one of the things that I talk about, if you've all either seen on my YouTube channel, especially what I've done particularly with the Erie Black Wall Street workshops, to talk about what I like to call money trauma. And a lot of times it may be difficult to kind of manage your money because you're just starting from the numbers aspect, but you're not dealing from the heart aspect first. There are things, there are mindsets, there are experiences that we have had that impact how we handle and how we manage our money. So until you deal with that, the tactical stuff, it's going to be hard for that to fall in place. Like, you're like, oh, I was sticking to my budget hard. I was doing good. I was saving. And then I just fell off. Wow. It's not just, oh, I don't know how to budget. I don't know how to save. There is an emotional experience that we have to unpack. And I've shared this in my workshop before. So sorry for y'all who attended. You got to hear.
Listen, you going to get it double time. Somebody might need this again. So you be all right. Just sit back and listen. Wait, real quick. With that being said, Riasha, she said, I'm over here eating virtual popcorn. And then, hold on. Let me get in these comments real quick. My little Nana, she said, great conversation, ladies, on friendship, education, family, and life is very authentic and relevant and very impressive conversation. I am loving it. We love you, Nana. We have Riasha said, finger snaps. Abby said, amen, sis. Abby said, help me budget. And then Keena said, I definitely mentioned that earlier with what did I do with ecology.
Right.
Yes.
Like,
no, for real.
Classes. Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead and drop your, go ahead.
So when I say the emotional side, sometimes it's kind of hard to kind of piece, like, what do you mean by that? So I'll give it a personal experience. One of the things that definitely traveled through my childhood is that we moved a lot. Like my mom was very, very transient. Like we moved from one apartment to the next. Like we was always moving. And I remember I had went off to college, this was before I had Samara. I went off to college, came back. I still had my room. And in this room, I had this beautiful black bed set. Like I had this big old round mirror. I remember it had like the gold trim, took the best selfie. I love this bed set. Like it was so beautiful. So that was my room. You know, when I came back from college during winter breaks, during summer breaks, like that was my room. I mean, one time I went off to college, it was break time. I came back, that bed set was gone. Oh. And I'm like, what's going on? And my mom, she used to always rent her furniture, but got behind on the payments and they had to take that bed set. Yeah. And I remember just feeling like powerless in that moment because in my mind, that was mine. Like, how can they just come and take my bed, but didn't keep up with the payments, that bed set had to go. When I moved out here, when I first moved out here in the DMV area, it took me a very long time to get furniture because I refused to make payments on furniture. I was not buying my furniture if I couldn't buy it in full.
Yeah.
Why did I do that? Because that experience that I had as a child still carried it with me. And I'm like, I don't want to put myself in a position where somebody can take something from me, And so there's certain things and certain ways that how we manage our money or how we manage a lot of things in our life that is connected to something. And usually if you are struggling with your finances, there is some type of money story or some type of money trauma, I like to call it, that is impacting that. And so until we can get into understanding, a budget, understanding that having emergency savings, understanding the basics of building a retirement and building wealth, you got to find that money story to really deal with it because it's going to keep coming up. Sometimes.
Wow, this is crazy.
I mean, and to me, it made me fall in love with this more because I'm just like, I don't have to, like, my education is not, if I decide to, go into this full time, I'm able to mesh the two. Because it's not a separate thing. So that was my 2 cents, or really get, if I do have any advice for somebody who's looking to better their finances, really look at it from a holistic approach. It's not just, how to figure out how to do these things. Figure out your patterns and behaviors on why you're operating the way you are with your money in the first place, because it is an emotional experience.
Wow. Like I never even, I guess I did in a way, but not in the way that you just explained, like how it's an emotional thing for a lot of us, and just even kind of rethinking maybe certain situations and experiences that I've had where it's like triggering when it comes to money. Cause I feel like I've talked to so many people that it does, like certain aspects of money is like, oh, like, yeah, like I never want to be there again, or and it's like, it's almost like money has like a bondage on you in so many aspects. So for you to even say that, and also I'm just when you're talking, and as you're talking about the mental part of it, it's like, well, you got a whole degree in social work, so you must know something, okay?
I learned something.
But it's just awesome for you to even be able to now connect those two for your business and educate people on not just how to budget and save, but also how to unlearn certain things that may be why you're still struggling or in certain financial situations. So, and we have Nadia, she said, speak. So yeah, so that's some good advice. And I definitely at the end, I always like to give you the throne. I'm learning to say it like that, like give you the throne to kind of, put your little spiel and get your name out there so people can connect with you. So we have been on this for an hour and 4 minutes, and I feel like I still have a lot of things to ask you. So I have a lot of part twos for conversations, but I definitely wanted to talk about your hair. We were talking beforehand, and I remember when you still lived in Erie, you did your whole, you had like a mini curl fest almost type of thing. And for Black women, our hair is it has a lot of stories. So I kind of wanted to highlight your hair, and I wanted to kind of I was like, oh, I want to talk about this when we get on live. So your natural hair journey, you are an OG natural hair person. I'll never forget this. But I guess I want to talk about your hair and that experience that you have had in that journey. Even we don't even have to go deep, but kind of tell me what that program was you used to have and your journey with your hair.
Yes, King's Curls and Cares.
Yes.
I actually went natural while I was in college. It was around like 2008, 2009. And it wasn't super popular around then, but YouTube, there was a lot of YouTubers that were like creating channels, and there was a lot of education online, but it wasn't trending yet. Yeah. And so when I went natural, especially from my family, oh my God, they just, the family, they don't spare your feelings at all.
No. Like,
girl, you put a perm in that. I don't know. That's not like,
listen,
it was a journey. But I know one thing about me is just like, once I put my mind to something, I'm just like, it don't matter what none of y'all think. Y'all gonna like it later on. But it was, for me, one of the things that inspired me to go natural is that I remember watching the documentary Good Hair by Chris Rock.
I remember it.
And when they showed what the perm did to the can, I was like, so that's why my scalp be burning and them sores, like, oh my God, like that. I was just like, oh no, nope, I'm done. And so I started off just by like, the fear of it, like, oh my God, I don't want these chemicals in my hair. So I would always get my hairs in braids and stuff like that. Then I got on YouTube trying to figure out how to do twist outs and braid outs and all of that. And similar to my finance journey, I'm just like, I'm learning all of this, and I want to share with other people, And so with the whole creation of Kink Curls and Cares, hosting those natural hair events. I remember when I was in college, I went to one out in Pittsburgh because Slippery Rock is not too far from Pittsburgh. And I was thinking like, I would love to do this one day. So when I, was home, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I remember drafted emails, sending them out to like various natural hair product companies, and they was responding back and they was sending me stuff. I was like,
listen, I feel like I might have a picture on my Instagram of all the things I want at your King's Curls and Cares. Okay. Even Abby said I still got my shirt from your hair journey. I believe I still have your shirt too, because I want it. Look it, go ahead and do that again so I can win some more stuff. No.
Like, I know. And honestly, I really like, that's something like, even though I put it down, like it's something that's still,
still in you.
Yes, still in you. But from, doing that and wanting to inspire other women, because for me, and as you said, like, especially for Black women, like our hair, it has a story, and it's so connected to us in a way, and even our self-esteem, where there was a point where I did not feel beautiful without any type of weave or extension, or if my hair was out, it needed to be straight. And for me to kind of go through that transition of loving my hair the way God has created it, it was just a level of self-love that I did not know I didn't have until I went natural. And so there were just so much things that I had to accept and love about myself. And it also made me more, cognitive of wanting to be healthy. Like, okay, I want my hair to grow. I need to drink water. I need to take my vitamins. And so it kind of was like a full circle approach of me just wanting to be healthy overall and just really loving myself. And so that was just, it was a interesting journey for sure.
Yeah, I love it. We have Keena. She said, what did Keena say? Oh, wait, I don't know who that is. I think that might be spam. So
Bam.
I'm gonna just block
Oh, you know
this.
you popping when you got the spammers in the comments. That
Oh
means
my
you popping.
God. Like it's cool and all, but like I don't like it at the same time. Keena said, we in church. Keena said, yeah, our coping mechanism. And it is. And I don't want to like take away from any other ethnicity, but I do believe that like our hair is it's our crown. And you talk about like how once you went natural, like you had a different level of self-esteem. And I definitely can relate to that and kind of letting go of so much. It's almost like very freeing when you like go natural or wear your natural hair out and things like that. So I want to even go even a little deeper because now we have our sister locks, which I have seen a lot of us because I'm one of them. I'm about to be locking this year.
Yes.
Okay. And so you made a reel, I believe, right?
Yes.
About your journey into locking. And the reason why I want to highlight this is because, like I said, I see a lot of women now getting ready to lock their hair, having those conversations and or locking. My daughter, it's been a year since we locked her hair. And we had a whole conversation beforehand. I showed her certain pictures. I showed her Chloe and Hallie, the twins. And just like, I let her make the decision ultimately because it is a permanent, it's permanent unless you comb it out or cut it. But take me through that journey of locking for even somebody who may be trying to decide, like myself, if I want to go through that journey of locking my hair.
Yes. So
or your hair, I should say.
Yeah. So when I decided to lock, for me, the way like where my life is going, like I needed some time back because anybody who knows like with having natural hair, it's a commitment, and I've always done my hair. Like there's a couple of times where I would go and get my hair done, but I've always done my hair for the most part. And I've just gotten to a place where I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so locking for me was a time saver, but they were also very beautiful. And so when I was looking into getting my hair locked, sister locks was a little bit more attractive to me because it mimics loose hair, and as I was sharing with you before we got on, like the night before I was before my installment, I decided to create that where I was like, just saying my last, my goodbyes to my fro. And I felt myself getting a little emotional because like I just shared, like my journey from going natural, it taught me so much about myself. And it was almost like I was saying goodbye to that. And now I'm entering into a new journey that is just like, I don't know, what it comes with or what it's going to entail. Although it's still my hair, it's not a completely new, different hair, but it was like I was saying goodbye to that form of my hair that has been so influential on just me loving myself. So I was just like, I didn't know I was gonna get emotional. Like it was like, wait a minute, bro, girl, hold on, wait a minute, let me talk to you. I love you, B, and you will never part. But it was just like, wow, I didn't expect myself to get a little choked up. But when I got the installment, one of the things that I realized just in my journey as being locked is like similar to being loose natural. There's days where it's just like, ooh, yes, it's popping. And other days I'm like, let me just throw it in a ponytail. And with my locks, I'm finding like I'm having days where I'm really loving it. And there's days where I'm like, okay, it's still growing on me because it's real. Like my hair literally like finally got to my shoulders, especially when I had it straight. I'm just like, oh my God, I have all of this length. So I'm like, I feel like I'm starting back over because it just, it went back up. I'm like, but you know what? I have to embrace the process and embrace every stages of it. So for me, it was definitely a time saver because I'm pretty sure, as you know, when it comes to this whole content creation space and your team, me, myself, and I, like the editing, the things, and then on top of being a mom, on top of trying to be a good partner, like I'm just like, I just need something off of my plate, and my hair was one of them. And so it's a different financial commitment because sister locks are not cheap.
I've heard.
at all. And there'll be a YouTube video that I'm going to release detailing like how much I spend and all of that. And so one of the things that was different from me that I've saw in a lot of sister lock videos was just like, oh, I've saved money because, I'm not spending X amount on getting my hair done, but I've done my hair. So I've always saved money.
Yeah.
Now it's just for me in the aspect of saving time. So, but now I find myself, now that I'm, locked, I'm actually spending more money on hair that I'm used to because I don't have to routine out. Like you have to get your hair retightened. And so, there's a fee that goes with that. And so now every month or so, I have to go and get my hair retightened. I don't know how to retighten my own hair. I'm not even going to try. But I think for me, in this journey of becoming locked, is that I am enjoying to just being able to be catered to in a way. Like I don't have to do my hair. I'm just going to sit and let the loctician and just do her thing. And I just get up and go. So for me, getting that time back. And I still have, like I said, I can still kind of mimic my natural hair. I miss the fullness. That's something. But I hear like over time as they mature, they get fuller. But it's
as they mature, it's so cute. My locks matured. No, and I have my best friend's sister has sister locks, and I've kind of watched hers grow, and it has gotten fuller and bigger, and it does mimic that, like you said, loose hair. I never even heard of it like that, like saying your hair is your loose hair.
Until I got into the lock community. That's what they refer to as your
wow.
I didn't know that. So I just learned that, girl. I ain't know.
Listen, I got some loose hair. This is a little we got loose hair. We have Riasha, she said yes, and Abby said period. So talking about you just talk about your confidence and who embracing who you are through your hair. Hold on, Abby said you beautiful either way, sis. Love the locks on you.
Oh, thank you, girl.
That's a good sister-in-law right there. We love it.
That is so sweet.
Yes. So Divinely Crowned is all about, self-love and confidence. And I do believe that we all are on our own journey. And I had to say that, I kind of had to remind myself to say that, that we're all on our own journey, because not everybody that I interview is in a space of being confident and in who they are, whatever. But I also always like to ask, like, what does that look like for you? And you talking about your hair and how much of your self-esteem and your confidence comes through your hair or came through your hair. Like, what does confidence look like to you on your journey?
It's definitely self-acceptance. And it's not just, accepting all the things that you like about you, but accepting the things that you may not.
Yeah.
And also just realizing that there's no one like you, even twins do not have the same fingerprint DNA. Like there is no one else in this world like you. So why not be you, because you're the only one here. And so for me, just that level of self-acceptance and just, embracing your journey through the good and the bad. And just, realizing your uniqueness and what you bring to the world. It doesn't matter if someone is doing the same exact thing that you are doing. They can't do it like you. You're going to put your stank on it, So it's just kind of like, and it really, like, that really is to me how, I can be confident in whatever it is that I'm doing. It's just like, there's no other Tashana. I'm the only one. So how I do it, how I say it, it doesn't matter. Like it's coming from me, and there's not another me. So, to me, that just, brings a peace. But like I said, there's also the, areas where you may not be so confident, you don't like about yourself, but even giving yourself that grace and still loving yourself through those moments. And, you'll get there.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I did definitely agree with everything you said. She said, put your stank on it. I know that's right. Ain't no one gonna put their stank on it like you. Okay. Tasia said, mine's definitely came through my hair. Yes. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Listen, Tasia's definitely been one of my inspirations when it comes to locking. She be, slaying them locks and just doing all types of. So just get ready for your slay sister to, be reaching out if I need some assistance. Okay. So I always like to ask this last question, which I've been asking, and it's so funny. I was watching I was watching like bits and pieces of each interview I've done so far, and I was like, wow, I really did stay consistent with this question. But I always like to ask through your journey. I got Tasia. She said, got you. I love Tasia's my boo. I love me some Tasia. I know you do, girl. But I always like to ask on your journey, like, what would you tell young Tashana at this age you're at, with everything you've done, accomplished, learned? You're a mom now, you're a girlfriend, you're an entrepreneur. Like, what would you tell young Tashana if you could, or whatever, what you want to tell your younger self?
Yes. I feel like I'm kind of lucky because I've been able to listen to interviews, so I have time to think about this question. I'm like, ooh,
so you cheating. Before you answer, Keena said, yes, you believing in yourself gave others in our community hope and confidence with our hair. You really did. Like, I definitely agree with that. A win is a win. Yes, you, like I said, you were an OG natural hair person. So like, you were definitely somebody I looked up to when I was doing my natural hair thing as well. So thank you. Riasha said, snaps. All right, so yes, okay. Go ahead. Tell me how you was practicing in the mirror about this.
I'm like, I have to tell my little Shauna. I'm gonna call her
Shauna.
But one of the things that I thought to tell myself is that you are beautiful. And not even just on the outward, but both out and inward. The Tashana that y'all see today, embracing my natural self, embracing, who I am, sharing the good and the bad, was not little Tashana, wasn't even, young adult Tashana.
Wow, yeah.
I have, battled with loving me the way I look. I've always been a thin person. I've always been, big eyes, big lips, all of my features that make me. Yeah. There was a time where I didn't accept that. There was a time where there were certain friendships where who I was just wasn't accepted. And I would have like that battle and, trying to figure out like, well, what's wrong with me? So I would tell me, Tashana, you are a beautiful person. Inside and out, don't you ever forget that. So
yes,
tell little Shauna.
Practice. That was good.
I had to practice that.
But no, and that's good. That's good, and I love that you said it, because, like you said, you're like even young adult Tashana. Like I'm very vocal about how I was like until I had my child. Like, not loving who I am, and you talk about like, you were thin, I was always a big girl and things like that. So it's just like, it's so beautiful to say like you're beautiful, and that young version of you needs to hear that, because I do believe as we grow, we are healing certain parts of us, and as we grow in who we are, and not everybody does that journey. Not everybody heals and grows and learns and unlearns certain things about their younger self. But if you take that journey, whatever that journey looks like for you, and for you to be able to say back, like look back and be like, you're beautiful. Like, that's a powerful thing to be able to say to your younger self. So I'm happy for you to be able to say that. Abby says, you're definitely a beautiful person and beautiful person and soul. Embrace you, sis. Abby, we are so proud of you. Nadia, very beautiful. Yes, I agree. So I always, like I said, I was going to let you have your throne, So is there anything maybe you wish I would have said, asked you? Is the throne is yours right now. So go ahead and go ahead and straighten your crown and tell people whatever you want to say.
I will say I did want to talk about what I feel like is probably specific to the Erie community.
Okay.
For those who move away.
Okay. Yes.
Because there's a lot of, some people have a certain way how they feel about Erie, and some people have a certain way that they feel about Erie. And I just want to say, like I said, Erie will always be home. But there was also some very real things that happened to me economy-wise that is a very problematic issue in Erie.
Okay.
There was no reason with me with my master's degree that I was being paid what I was being paid. And the fact that what pushed me out of my hometown was being in poverty with all of this education. And I realized that that's not just my story, you know, when it comes to the job market, when it comes to, opportunities in housing and home ownership. There's a lot of systemic things that oppress a people. And so with me moving away and being able to position myself the way I have and continue to, it was due to a place of just immense pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but what I realized that even with me leaving away, I've never, ever, ever shamed my city, shamed like some of the things that what Erie don't or don't do or don't have, because what purpose does that serve? You know, there are still people who still live there, and that is their home. And so it doesn't make me better than or make you less than because I'm no longer in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes,
And
I do.
it's a real thing with, you know, people who leave and people who stay. And, you know, for those who may even be aspiring to eventually leave, that, you know, Erie has its own gems, and I still think is a beautiful place. It has a lot of work to do economically wise, and that's just being real. I do love the work that Erie Black Wall Street is doing. I do love the efforts that I'm seeing in the city of Erie, but there is a lot of things that systemically that needs to change from people who are in position of power for what's going on with our kids. I'm not happy with the whole conglomerate of everybody being in the same building. You know, there's just a lot of things where, you know, I understand for those who may not want to do the grassroots works and just may, you know, need to leave. That's okay. And for those who decide to stay and you know, endure that and work things out and have hope that it's going to change and get better. I don't feel like either or is right or wrong. I know for me personally in my journey, I always, you know, feel like whatever I do, I want to be able to pour back. I want to be able to give in some type of way, because I know what it's like to live there, and I know what it's like to want more, and, you know, not being supported economically in a way to be able to thrive. So I just had to give that piece. That's something
good.
That I feel
Listen, go ahead and say what you
say.
I appreciate that, even from somebody who still lives here, somebody who wants to move out of here, somebody who understands exactly what you mean. Kina highlighted, you know, talking about like the poverty and things that are going on here. And I know we have a lot of work to still do. And I'm connected not just with Erie's Black Wall Street, but other people who are really looking to change and be the voice of change. And it's not easy. I'm like I said, I'm connected to people that are fighting to be a voice and really get things done. And it's not easy. And it takes special people to even want to be in those positions to be a voice. But you being somebody who has left and is willing to pour back in, and you're like, listen, I see these things and I don't like it, and it needs to change. So for you to share that, I appreciate it. And I hope whoever listens to this, because real quick, Divinely Crowned has been named Best Podcast with the Erie Black Wall Street Greenlight Awards, which means y'all gonna be listening to this and y'all gonna hear these conversations that need to be heard so people can make change. So yes, the award-winning podcast people need to hear this stuff. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. We have Abby said, I'm so glad I got on this podcast tonight. Heard some helpful gems. Well, we appreciate you getting on. Tasia said yes when you was in your whole speech. You know, she's like, yes. Nadia said yes, ma'am. Abby said yes, and Riasha said yes. I love it. This has been so good. So is there anything else that you want to share? I will get your information all about, you know, Hopeful Reality. We probably could go for a long time, but we both have kids and I know that we got to wrap up, but I know you have a YouTube channel. Do you do services like people can hire? Okay. So we'll get all that information, but is there anything else you want to share before, you know, we kind of wrap up?
Yes. So Hopeful Reality is at Hopeful Reality on Instagram, TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok as much. However, there is like this black follow women train that's
I
happening.
saw
It's
that.
going. I'm like, I'm about to hop on that
I
eventually.
need to hop on it more. I've been seeing it, but I don't. And I guess people were mad. It's an uproar, but we finna make it an even bigger uproar because we're here. Okay.
So I'm on TikTok at Hopeful Reality. YouTube, y'all know I'm heavy on YouTube right now. My website is, Hopeful
She's
Reality.
monetized, by the way. So shout out to the supporters that have supported this Black queen getting monetized.
Yes.
I know it's
I can't quit my job yet, but
not yet.
20 cents every here and there. Yes, YouTube, and then I do have a podcast, but my podcast has been idle for like a year. So I mean, there's still some good episodes on there. If you
go check them out.
Eventually I may, bring it back to life, but I do have a podcast. And then in regards to my services, I do offer workshops on budgeting basics. And then I do have another workshop called Beyond the Budget, where I kind of get into the mental health aspect. And then if you're looking for more one-on-one support, I do have budgeting one-on-one coaching services where, I can walk you through your own budget journey.
I love it. I love it. And like I said, I will put that information if you check me out on the audio side. And I haven't updated my YouTube ones yet because, like she said, it's a lot of work doing all this by yourself. So bear with me, but I always like to at least put them in the show notes if you check it out on the podcast interviews out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So we will get that information for you guys so you can tap in with the budgeting, the finance queen is what we don't call her. We have Nadia said, okay, now yes, queen. And Riasha said, I feel so empowered listening to this. Thanks, ladies. Thank you for listening. And I always like to give my flowers to my queen. So I just want you, first and foremost, like I said, thank you for one, being on this podcast and being willing to be highlighted and share your journey because it's a beautiful journey and you dropped so many gems tonight. So thank you for that. Thank you for pouring back into our community in such a positive way, because I do, like you said, even just talking about, some people have negative things to say when they leave and that, but you have literally, I believe, been dedicated to pouring back into our community. And I believe that is worthy of recognition. So thank you. On behalf of our community, thank you for that. And just thank you for even inspiring me over the years through hair, now through finance, through, being a mom entrepreneur and things like that. So just keep doing your thing. And I can't wait to see what is next for you. So thank you very much. I appreciate you so much, for sure. Yes.
Thank you. I got to pass my flowers to you too. You are such a beautiful person, for real. Your laugh, your smile, like you just genuinely have love surrounded in you.
Thank you.
Around you, and it makes it so easy to just, I feel like we like our friends, like I know you since kindergarten, girl. So it's like you really, and a lot of people can't do that. So just know you are very talented at what you are doing. And this is, everybody can't get up and do this. Just know that, okay? And you are doing a very, very good job. So keep going. I can't wait to see, them interviewing you on Breakfast Club. So yeah, let's get that started. Put 814. Like, I really, you're really dope. And
thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, because everybody can't do it, and you're doing a very good job.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that so much. Don't make me cry. I've been trying to hold back tears all day, but I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. These are the type of conversations I love. We need to, I'm not looking for this recognition, but I love having these conversations, and I feel empowered after these conversations. So I'm honored that you gave me those words, because I hold all the words that you all have said to me like really dear to my heart, because this thing ain't easy. And I know let me see the comments real quick. Abby, what's your podcast on Apple? So it's going to be the same, Divinely Crowned Conversations, everywhere, every platform that you can hear these interviews. Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, on Facebook. So I'm working on at least doing one interview a week. Because but after, like, give me some time and I'll be doing more consistent interviews. So you might be next. I might slide in your DMs. Tasia, yes, you are. Davina Paisley, I love you. Thank you. Abby said yes. Riasha said, get it, girl. Nadia, she gave the hearts with the hands.
Yeah, shout out to y'all. Y'all been here for the whole time.
I know, Nadia, we appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all.
Abby said, I definitely need to surround myself with people like y'all. Yes, we need more for sure. Nadia said, I feel the same. Yay, I love it. Don't worry, there's so much more to come. Listen, Tashana, she gonna be in the Divinely Crowned connections as well. I have so much in store, and I want to continue to stay connected to all my queens because I know we are going to shake the world up. Yes, okay, so I'm excited. Abby said, very educated boss woman. Thank you. And then we are here. Yes, yes. So once again, thank you, Tashana, for taking the time to share your journey. So like I said, I'll have you get off, like I'll click you off. I might lose you. Like I said, I'm still learning this platform, but if I do, I would love to, talk after this. So I'm going to click you off and then do my closing remarks and then go from there. Do you have anything else you want to say to anybody out there or anything before I let you go?
Yes, until next time, dream, believe, and achieve.
I love it. We love it. All right, I'm going to click you off. Okay, first of all, can we come through with the hour and 35 minutes? Yes. I genuinely needed this conversation tonight for so many different reasons. And I'm so grateful that I was able to, interview Tashana and hear about her journey. And thank you to everybody who was in the comments. It looks like she has a lot of love. And so I know she loves that, and I love it for her. I wanted to touch base about a few things why I still got some of you guys on here. So I don't know if you follow me and you saw, but today is exactly a month until the Lovers and Friends soiree. I don't know what I just said. It's late. Soiree. I wanted to make sure everybody knew that was on, or who will listen to this later. The Lovers and Friends soiree is not just for lovers. It's for friends as well. So if it's Galentine's Day you're celebrating, if you want to bring your boys out, get connected. It's another networking event where I just want everybody to have positive, happy vibes. So no, it's not just for couples. Come out and enjoy yourself, get dressed up, and have a good, safe time. If you guys know me from my last event, I'm all about making sure people are safe. So please make sure you are respecting my event and I will respect you. Okay. So get your tickets now. Tickets are on sale until February 4th. So a week before. There will not be tickets at the door. I am not going to have y'all all in my inbox. No, after the 4th, there will be no exceptions. I really just want to do things. When I say this, it reminds me of church, but in decency and in order. So please make sure you are following. Just, come and have a good time. I have Tasia. She said, definitely a good conversation. Thank you. Abby with the hand claps. Nadia, she said that was beautiful. Thank you. Abby, definitely going to follow you. Thank you. Welcome to the queendom, honey. Riashi, she said, if I was in Erie, I would love. Don't worry. Divinely Crowned. You're going to see Divinely Crowned often with events. So I would love to have you eventually. Abby, is it on your page? Yes, it is. So if you go to the Divinely Crowned page or you follow me on anywhere where you see Davina Paisley or Divinely Crowned, it will be on there. But you can find the tickets on Eventbrite if you put in Lovers and Friends Soiree, and you'll see the Divinely Crowned Lovers and Friends Soiree. So I would love to meet you in person, Abby. And then Nadia, yes, I'm ready. Yes, Nadia, I'm so excited you're coming. Nadia, I've been following you too. You're a beautiful person. But yes, so tickets on sale now. Make sure you get them before you don't have them and have to live vicariously through my guest. Also, like I said, Divinely Crowned was nominated or chosen for Best Podcast. And I want to say live again that I genuinely appreciate whoever filled in my name, because it was a fill-in. So for you guys to already be believing in this podcast so much that you would say this as the best podcast, Black podcast, because it is for Black awards. Like, I am truly grateful. Like, this, you guys don't know how much that means to me for you to have taken the time to vote for me, because I really appreciate it. So so join the podcast, join Divinely Crowned Network. It's a network at this point. And just stay connected. And remember, until next time, you are Divinely Crowned. And Abby, I see you. She said, Def gonna bring my husband. Yes, bring your lover. All right. Well, you guys have a great night and be safe. Love you.